not my computer. Okay. How I get it off the cloud is anybody's guess, but I'm going to give it the old college try. Hey, I was asked, I was asked specifically, let's see, not everybody's here. It is 7 after. But I got a specific request yesterday from someone who's was a student and is doing project management and doing really well. But he's looking for someone like an Alec. I don't know if any of you know Alec Abalone, but I got Alec hired on at this company, and he's been a right-hand man, you know, to the project manager for over a year now, and they're really happy with him, and they need another one like him. They're willing to train. They need somebody hopefully has some construction background, but knows their way around a computer. And I don't mean an IT guy, but I mean someone that knows enough construction and knows enough about computers that could get Procore and some of these computer programs and basically be the right-hand man to project manager, and then be on the job and basically be de facto project manager on some of these jobs where they get to a point where you just can't keep the heavy, the 120,000 plus a year guy on it. He needs to go into another job, and a guy that makes a little less money, but can answer questions and be there and knows how to, use Excel and stuff like that. So it's a great opportunity. It would start, you could probably start at 30 plus an hour, which is 60,000, which is not bad, but you could only go up from there. Oh, up or out. You could always go out, but you won't ever go down. So that's a word to the wise, by the way. Get as much as you can, get as much as you can. I usually ask guys what they think they're worth, and people always undersell themselves, always, which is okay by me, I guess. But right now, you guys are gold. Every one of you is able-bodied, interested in construction, have some skills. You definitely all have soft skills. Speaking of, where's my Alex? Oops. Well, I told him every class or nothing. So, Alex, you've been warned multiple times. Miguel, Jesus. Hey, Jesus, where's Jesus? Huh. Luke.
Present.
Daniel. Alex. Benjamin.
Present.
Aaron.
Here.
Tyler.
Here.
Zach.
Here.
Evan.
Here.
Connor. D'Angelo.
Here.
Josh.
Here.
Trent. John Tapia. All right.
Here.
Got you. This is going to be a class that you're not going to want to miss. I'll tell you that. But if you're not here, you missed it.
Rodney, to clarify, is that job opportunity at Procore or at a company that uses Procore?
There's a company that uses Procore.
Got it.
There's construction software. I mean, Procore is kind of the Kleenex. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of construction software companies. Procore is kind of set the standard, but those are the things we're going to go over. A whole list of things. And if you're not here, you're going to be handicapped. Oh, well, I called everybody individually. Well, I've been sick, but I feel a hell of a lot better today. I just didn't want to take any chances and get anybody sick. Okay? But man, I feel a hell of a lot better today. I almost went to the school, but once I figured out I could make that whiteboard work on a couch, I decided to stay here. You gotta admit, I look more comfortable, don't I? I am. I'm really comfortable.
Yeah.
Want to see my desk? Here. All those little pen and ink watercolors, can you see them? Those are all done by a very dear, well, my best friend who died about 3 years ago. He was an incredible human being. He was a high-powered personal injury lawyer. He defended people, families who were killed in industrial accidents, mostly cases that resulted in death or dismemberment. In one case where a woman was decapitated by her seatbelt on an accident on a freeway in Oakland. Really interesting cases. Anyway, I love this guy. He's so talented. I mean, this is a bulldog trial lawyer, and this is what he chose to do later on in life. Isn't that cool? He's just a talent as hell. Those are my two holes in one right there. The balls are. That's right. Oh, damn it. What happened? All right. I don't know what happened, guys. I think I pulled too hard. I'm going to see if I can't.
Yeah, Rodney, don't pull too hard now.
Yeah, I'll try not to.
Speaking from experience, Louis.
100 video. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, Zach, you've never pulled too hard before?
I never have.
Once or twice.
I wouldn't advise it.
Daniel Delgado is here. Daniel, we were waiting. We couldn't start without you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for waiting.
I was just giving the class a nickel tour of my desk area, which is where I pretty much live.
Nice.
Now I'm
HP printer.
now I'm paranoid because I pulled it out of the socket there. But those rocks up there, those came from Monument Valley. Navajo guy etched that one. There where the picture is. That's picture of Monument Valley profile. I don't know how high it can get. This is well, I got some really cool Indian pottery up here, but who knows what this is?
Sea urchin.
That's right. It's a Pacific red sea urchin. This one alive probably weighed well over a pound. That's a big urchin. Each one of these little nubbins on it, that's where a spine was. The spines are probably about that long, super sharp, serrated, made of calcium carbonate bone, but just made to go into the body. And then all these little holes, if you hold it up to the light, you can see holes. That's where the tube feet were. And the tube feet actually come out past the spines and take things down to their jaws, which are at the very bottom. They have like 5 beaks. They have 5 of everything because they're starfish. That's right, starfish, folks. And starfish are echinoderms. They have 5 of everything. Did anybody know all that? 5 of everything. Who came? Miguel came?
Yeah.
Got you. Miguel, got you, Miguel. Jesus, did you show up? How about Alex Dominguez? Alex, if you don't show up, you're going to fail the class tonight. This is the make or break it, buddy. If you can hear me in the ethers. Connor, you here? Connor Kelly? Now, back to my tour before we get down to business here. I'm just hoping people wander in. Gotta get a toothpick.
Are these built-ins your handiwork?
Say it again, please.
Are these built-ins your handiwork?
They are. Everything in here is mine. I'll show you. I'll just pan a little bit. I'll show you as soon as I get out. Now, you got to ask yourself, do I want to have a wooden toothpick? I think I do. I'd offer you one, but this virtual stuff only goes so far. Not cool. Coca-Cola. Can you see it? Toothpick holder. I love stuff like that.
It almost looks like a cigar.
I know it does. doesn't it? This camera is weird. It sometimes focuses really well. Okay, so I'm showing people some of my objects to art here. That bowl came from Sin. Where'd that bowl come from? It came from Alaska, somewhere in Alaska, Sitka or someplace. There's an etched rock saying "Gone golfing." See those two abalone shells there? Those are my favorite shells. This is a Haliotis rufrans. It's a pink abalone. It's a juvenile abalone. You couldn't pick one like this. It's too small, and I never cleaned the back. It's the back that is valuable. I should clean the back because it's just gorgeous, but the shell is perfect. I love that shell. And then this one is a green, a juvenile green abalone, and someone has worked the back, maybe me, but it's also just in perfect condition. And it's been worn a little bit by the tide, or else I did that. I might have done that. I might have scrubbed on it with a wire brush or something like that. There's my ukulele. There's my contractor's license. Books. My kid's wedding. My younger daughter smoking hot. My God. Okay. And then lastly, to get the class really going, did y'all hear that? Everybody hear me okay?
Like a bell? Was that like a bell? Or
That's an Indian, they're bowls. They're really like if you can get them in any key. This happens to be an A major key. It's a cool thing to get a meditation started because you can hear this thing for a long time. Okay. Did anybody come in and not get counted? I have 12 participants right now. Aaron, Ben, D'Angelo, Daniel, Evan, John, Josh, Lou, Miguel. Okay, so that's everybody so far. No one, if you're here and I didn't call your name, you need to speak up now or forever be absent. Okay, so let's go ahead and back to the gallery for a second. And I'm going to share the screen and let's get started. Here we go. We've got a long night ahead of us. I expect to finish by midnight, but I hope you guys brought your jammies and your pillows. Just kidding, but then you all knew that. Where am I taking you? There we go. Modules. Everybody see my screen?
yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, good. So look at this though, huh? Let's start with week 15. I thought this would be a very germane and apropos thing to talk about. I'll read the first paragraph. And here goes. Common cold safety talk. The common cold is just that. It is common, especially when the weather begins to change and get colder. There is no true vaccine or medicine that completely relieves you from having a cold. However, there are ways that you can lower your chances of getting a cold in the first place or minimize the effects if you happen to get one. It's important to realize the effects of a cold can have on your work. Now, this applies to getting anything, getting the flu, getting COVID. It's all germane. Common cold prevention. Miguel? Miguel, you there? Mr. Barbosa, you there? It's a problem with Zoom. Guess.
I just gotta,
Okay, you're here. Good. Second paragraph, common cold prevention, please. Unless you're on your phone. Are you on your phone, Miguel? Miguel, are you on your phone? You know, yeah, then I'm sorry.
connection issues.
Yeah, I don't want you to do this because it's too hard to read. So, Daniel, you on your computer? Daniel Delgado?
Yeah, my bad. I was muted.
It's okay. Can you see it? Can you read it?
Common cold prevention.
Good.
All right. Preventing the spread of the common cold comes down to a few basic principles. However, it can be hard to avoid if enough people around you are spreading the germs. A few quick tips from the CDC. Wash your hands often with soap and water. Avoid touching your face with unwashed hands. Stay away from individuals who are sick. Disinfect commonly touched surfaces. If you happen to get a cold, help prevent spreading it by practicing the same good hygiene tips as above. It is also important to stay home from work if needed, as well as avoid gatherings or social events while sick.
Okay. Next, how about somebody that can read? D'Angelo? Is that you coughing?
Oh no, I just forgot where we're at. I'm sorry.
Negative effects of having a cold.
I'll say the negative effects of having a cold. Obviously, no one desires to have a cold, much less having to deal with its effects while at work. Outside of just plain feeling bad, there could be many different ways your work is affected. Some ways a cold can affect you. Lower energy. One of the biggest effects of the common cold is robbing you of your energy. Your body is working overtime to fight the cold, along with trying to sustain all the regular bodily functions. So naturally, so naturally you will not be at a normal energy level. Decrease focus. When you're not feeling your best, you cannot fully focus on the task at hand. Whether you are thinking about how you do not feel well or the sneezing nonstop, your focus on the work task will be negatively effective. Lower morale. Morale goes a long way in working productively and safely, especially as a part of a team. When you or the others are sick around you, everyone's mood can be affected. With low energy levels, people's moods and attitudes towards one another at work will most likely not be in all-time positive levels.
Yeah, no kidding. And in summary, most of us can battle through a common cold with no major issues. That being said, it's still important to try to prevent having a cold or spreading it to others. When you're feeling under the weather, realize the effects it has on you and your work. Fight the urge to cut corners or take shortcuts, especially when it comes to working safely when you're sick. So any comments?
How do you feel right now, Rodney?
Well, I feel, hang on one second. 1 second, and I'm going to answer that question. We'll do, and I appreciate being asked. I feel good. I feel like I've got some sniffles and my head's a little stuffy, but compared to how I felt over the weekend, I feel pretty dang good. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be. I think I'm gonna be all better tomorrow. I think. I mean, I've done a lot today, but I've just tried to stay away from everybody. I stopped by the school and I masked and wore gloves and was there. I was in and out and disinfected the whole room. So I think by tomorrow I'm gonna be probably all better. Thanks for asking. I wanted to tell you guys that something just came to mind. What the hell was it? All right, so common cold. The thing about the common cold, what's the thing about the common cold and work? The thing is nobody wants to miss work because everybody needs money, right? Not only do you need the money, but your boss needs you to do the work because he needs the money. He pays you money so he can get money from clients, unless you're getting the money from the clients, right? So nobody wants to miss work, so people come anyway. Of course, I think since COVID, people are a lot more aware of the spreading of germs and how to protect themselves and others from the spread, and the fact that there's such a stigmatism around COVID that nobody wants to cop to the fact that they've got COVID. So if they even got a cold, they're just nobody knows what you got. COVID looks like anything. It looks like the flu. It looks like the cold. It looks. I guess the new variant doesn't kill you. People that are vaccinated get it too. So really do all those things. Wash your hands. Stay away from people. Don't touch your hands. Don't touch your face. But really, stay home if you can. You owe it to yourself to stay down. You'll get better faster. Now, I don't know if you're anything like me, but I take cold medication when I have a cold. I didn't this time, although I take it back. I got some medication from my doctor, but generally I take an over-the-counter cold medication like Advil cold and sinus is my go-to. You guys ever take that? Anybody take that? Advil cold and sinus? Oh my gosh, that stuff. I don't care how sick you are, you'll be working in an hour. It just knocks down the symptoms, and it may not be a good thing. And actually, it's got ephedrine in it. You can't buy all that much because the meth people. No offense to any meth people out there, but the meth people buy that stuff, and I guess they take the ephedrine out, which is an ingredient in meth, and so you do get kind of jacked up on it in a weird way. It's definitely not my idea of a good time, but it does abate the symptoms of a cold, allowing you to work. So there's my cold thing. Anybody else need to chime in about colds or talk about colds or have a cold? Or aren't you glad I'm protecting you all from my cold? Hey, we're going to review baluster spacing. Let's see what this says. It says, review equal baluster spacing demonstrated by RDU on the whiteboard. Pretty good, huh? So let's stop the share. Anybody make it that didn't come in at first? I didn't say I checked you. Let's say, actually, I'm looking for Jesus Barreto, Trent Settlemeyer, Muir, Connor Kelly, Alex Dominguez. You're toast, Alex. You're toast. I told them. It's pin me. Wait, remove pin. Okay, it's pin me now. So, who can define a baluster for me, please? Nobody? Nobody here can define baluster? I bet you could if you
Are
tried.
they the vertical components of
rail guard or
Guardrail.
yes, there I guess.
Yeah, that's good. They are. They pretty much are. You know, you could call them pickets, balusters. If you look at my deck, matter of fact, this is what I really like this is the way I like to teach people decks. But if you can see my balustrade there, so the big post is a newel post. The 2x2s are balusters. The bottom 2x4 is the bottom rail. The top 2x4 is the sub top rail, and then the 2x6 is the top rail. Can you see that? You can see that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So what's important in baluster spacing is equal spacing between the balusters. Would you agree? Equal spacing between the balusters is very important. So the way we get that, can y'all see me? I mean, I think the people with phones probably are having trouble with it. Can the rest of you see me?
Yeah.
And the people with phones can probably see something. I don't know what. Okay. Okay. So if you can read these numbers, we just took this out of a guardrail section, right? And newel to newel, so these big posts, in this case, they're 4x4s. In between the 4x4s is 72 inches, right? This figure here, if you can read it, it says 73.5 inches. I don't have time to do my whole shtick with you guys tonight, but I have a really great deck, guardrail shtick lecture that I do that I really like. I have a tape somewhere, but I'm going to perfect it. But in laying out balustrades and laying out newel posts for a guardrail, what you want to try to do is get your dimensions newel to newel, right? That 73-inch dimension. I'm sorry, that 72-inch dimension. This dimension here, newel to newel, right? You want to get that equal as possible. In other words, you want it to break up equal. So this is 72 inches. I'm assuming that my run then, you know, is something like 24 feet plus 24 feet plus 5 times 3.5 is 15 and 17.5. So that's 1 foot 5 inches. So it should be about 25 foot 5 inches. If this deck run somehow 20 foot 5 inches. Anyway, ideally, if you're laying out your deck and you're laying out your guardrails, you want to lay that out to get as many of the same numbers as you can. Do you understand what I mean by that? I mean that the spacing newel to newel, you want to try to get it as consistent as you can all over, right? So if you get all sixes or across the front, all sixes, and then maybe as it returns to the house, you know, a couple of 71s or 75s or whatever, right? But make those the same. And if I had more time, I'd give you a bigger layout and show you the beauty of this on a whiteboard. But just suffice to say, more of those newel to newel dimensions that you can make the same, then you're really only doing one calculation. So we're going to assume that we have 4 across and 2 returning to each side. So in other words, we're going to assume that this deck worked out so well because we did it. I'm going to assume that we did it. We being me or whoever, we laid it out. And we laid this deck out. Here's the house. This deck out to come out. So it come out to, you know, exactly. So that this would be 72, 72, 72, 72, 72, 72, 72, and 72. And we could do that because we were thinking that from the beginning. We laid the deck out, we built the deck, we framed the deck, we planned the whole deck to be the size, because it was the size, we could control the size. We weren't governed. There wasn't anything in this direction that stopped us from going that direction. Nothing stopped us in that direction. So we laid it out. So we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 exact same size baluster runs, newel to newel. And you see the beauty of that, the efficiency of that, right? That means really we're only building one balustrade. So I'm not going to get into how we do the newels and all that stuff in the decks, just the baluster spacing. But suffice to say that if you can do a deck like this and pull it off and come up with 8 numbers, the exact same in between the newels, then you're really only making one baluster 8 times, one balustrade 8 times. And so here's how we do it. We take, there's a formula for it. First thing we do is we take the newel to newel, end to end, and we add 1.5 inches to it. 1.5 inches is the size of one baluster. That's why we add it, right? So essentially we're adding 2 half balusters, because to get equal spacing, since we're going to lay out on centers, we need to burn half a baluster, that's 3/4 of an inch, into an opposed, an imaginary half a baluster, an imaginary center there, and an imaginary center there. So in doing that, we've increased that 72 inches newel to newel to 73.5. That's all the way into our imaginary baluster centers. 73.5 is our number. That's the number we're going to work with. Now, we're going to divide that by 5.5. Every time we're going to divide it by 5.5. So 73.5 divided by 5.5 equals. Who can tell me why 5.5? Nobody?
That is code for the spacing required between the balusters?
Is that Miguel?
Yes.
Okay, yes, it's code, and the code is 4 inches. You cannot have a space greater than 4 inches in a guardrail. That's from deck to the bottom of the bottom rail, and that's from any spacing ballast in between the balusters. They figure, the powers that be figure 4 inches is the size that a child's head could get through at greater than 4 inches. So 4 inches is the control point. You can have spaces under 4 inches, but you cannot have any spaces over 4 inches. So if you've got 1.5 balusters and you're laying out center to center, we use 5.5 because center to center is less 3/4 on one side, less 3/4 on the other side, takes us out of center, and in between the balusters at least 4 inches. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we come up with a number, and it happens to be 13.36. Now, can we have 13.36 balusters? Can we have 13 balusters plus 3/6 of a baluster? 0.36 of a baluster? Is there such a thing?
No.
Big resounding no. There isn't, right? So we never use that number anyway. Unless it's equal, then we're fine. If it comes out to an equal, even number, a whole number, then use it. But we always round up the next number. If you divide 5.5 into 73.5, it comes out to be 13.36. So we're not going to use 13.36 balusters ever. There's no such thing. So 13.36 equals 14. Period. So there's going to be 14 centers. 14 centers will be 13 balusters. 14 centers is 13 balusters. Now, 14 being the magic number, we're going to take 73.5, 73.5 divided by 14 equals. And it comes out even, which is great. It comes out to be an even number. So we're going to do, came up with 14, that's 14 centers. So 73.5 divided by 14 equals 5.25. Now that is our spacing. That's our baluster spacing. At 5.25, with inch and a half balusters, what's the space going to be between two balusters? That 5 1/4 is the center spacing. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? Come on, come on.
Quarters.
3 3/4.
Very good, Ben. Thank you very much. Why 3 3/4?
That's under the 4
Why?
inches.
You took inch and a half from the 5 1/4, right?
Right.
When we're doing centers, when we lay out centers, right? We have an imaginary center there, and then we have an imaginary a center line there, center line there, center line there. And if it's an inch and a half baluster, it's 3/4 of an inch to get to the space, right? 3/4 of an inch to get to the space. So 3/4 and 3/4 is 1 1/2, and 5 1/4 leaves 3 3/4. 3 3/4 is an acceptable and it's a good looking space. And guess what it is? It's less than 4 inches. So it's code, right? So that's why you always go up. So when you get that number, dual to dual, add a baluster, 1 1/2, that makes it 73 1/2. Divide that by 5 1/2, always 5 1/2. That's never going to change. Well, I take it back. That would change if your balusters were 1 3/4 or 2 or something, but with an inch and a half baluster, but the railing I'm talking about, like my rail outside with 2 by 2, 2 by 4, and 2 by 6, and 4 by 4 posts, you add 2 halves of a baluster or a whole baluster, 73 1/2, divided by 5 1/2, come up with a number, always go to the next round number. Now, if we did 70, I think if we did 60 and came out 71 1/2, I mean, if it comes up even, in other words, if you do it by 5 1/2 and it comes up with an even number, then use that number. Because you'll have exactly 5 1/2 inch spacing, and you'll have exactly 4 inch, 5 1/2 inch centers, exactly 4 inch spacing. But if you're not, even if it's 13.01, go to 14, because you don't want to have anything greater than 4. Even a small amount. Don't jam yourself. Make it less than 4, and you're fine. And then take that number 14, divide it into your 73 1/2, come up with that's your center to center spacing. And when you lay it out, you remember always burn a half a baluster into your post. So your layout from the end is 3/4 in, and then center line, and then it's all 5 1/4 centers. So all the centers work out, all the spacing works out. And hopefully you can see that. I know some people have a hell of a time seeing that, and just I had guys working for me that never saw it. So hopefully you're sharper than that. And then in building those balustrades, it gets really easy because I do a leading for the rails, top rail and bottom rail. On, sorry guys, you'll be tired of my face soon. So yeah, I do a 3/4 let in. So my rails are let in to the top. I guess I'll show you that on the board just so you get a good illustration of it. I think it's worth illustrating because it makes doing a baluster run so easy. And there'll be a question about this, maybe two. That's why I'm showing you. I think it's important to show you, and I was pretty sure I didn't show you. But when I do the railing, right, I take and cut in 3/4 of an inch at the top, and then 5 1/2 inches up from the deck, from the lowest place on the deck, I do another 3/4 by 1 1/2 inch let in. Right, then there's the deck, or deck's this way. Right, so I got a 2x4 rail at the bottom rail of my balustrade. This is also 1 1/2 by 3/4 in. It's a 2x4 top rail. And then I've got my 5 1/4 centers with an imaginary center in the newel post, right? And then center of the baluster. So there's the baluster, and there's the baluster. And these centers are 5 1/4. And that's the imaginary center. So if you do it that way, you don't have to burn anything. You just cut your rails to what they are supposed to be. And in this case, all your rails are what number? All 8 rails, all 16 rails. What length are they? They're all 73 1/2. You've added 3/4 on each end, so 1 1/2 inch total to your rails. So it corresponds with what you add to your balustrade measurement, right? So you just make these all up separate, right? And you pull from the end, your 5 1/4, you don't have to burn anything. You just pull from the end of your rail, lay them all out, nail them all together, and then slide them in, every one of them. And basically you're making, what did I say, 14, so 13 balusters, 8 spaces, so 8 times 13, 32, you're making 122, 112 balusters, exactly the same length. And you're making 16 rails, top and bottom rails, exactly the same length. Right? And you're making 8 balustrades, exactly the same length and height. So you're really only cutting one number, man, and it will make your job go fast, efficient, and I guarantee it'll look good too. If you follow what I'm telling you. So did anybody follow that? Did everybody follow that? Did anybody have any questions? No?
I do have a question.
Please.
Well, I don't know if everybody got just this very last explanation. I was a little bit lost, particularly because of the visuals. I couldn't see all the way to the details of your drawing.
Yeah.
And then I do have a couple more questions. But if this was like a common issue, if you could perhaps explain it again.
What's a common issue?
If everybody else also had a hard time understanding this very last explanation.
And did everybody else? So the last explanation was, and it's in making a balustrade, right? So that's, you got an empty space, newel to newel, and you're gonna make a balustrade that's gonna fit in between. And you only have to make one balustrade times 8 times, because you laid this out and made 8 exact same spaces in between these newels on your deck. And you had control of the deck, so you could do that. You planned it all out in advance. Instead of, having one be 72 and having the next one be 71, having the next one be 69, having the next one be 70, you know what I mean? Which could very easily happen. You went to great pains to make as many of them the same as possible, and the coup de grace is to make them all the same spacing. So you really you have one number, you start cutting one number, you cut them all. I mean, what's easier to do? Cut 16 pieces, 73.5, or cut 16 pieces, all different numbers? You can set up a stop and cut them all the same. So, Ben, what I was illustrating, and I don't know, you should be able to see this. What I was illustrating is, can you see that lead in? Right there? What I've drawn?
Okay, yes.
So the newel posts themselves are let in 1.5 by 3/4 in, 1.5 by 3/4 in to receive a 2x4 sub top rail and bottom rail. And all your balusters now, your spacing is laid out, right? They're 5 1/4 centers. You just pull from the end, make a mark at 5 1/4, 5 1/4, 5 1/4. You center your baluster. You do 2 finish nails. So looking down through that 2x4. If this is a baluster, on the other side, you do a nail there and a nail there in the 2 corners so it can't spin. And you nail from the top and you nail from the bottom, just like you were doing a wall, right? You do it on a bench. And then you lift it up and you slide it into your lead ends. You got lead ends on both sides, remember? This guy continues into a lead end, this guy continues into a lead end. So you got the same thing happening with the post. Right? Same thing happening with the post, and it continues on. Rail continues on that way. Post comes down. Another one comes in here, goes that way. Right? Are you following this so far?
Yes.
Okay. So looking at a full. We're looking down here. We're looking at an elevation. Newel post. And still continuing on, right? Newel post, another let in. So the idea is that if you do it this way, if you do the let ins on the post and don't just butt your top and bottom rails, you don't have to burn anything. You just throw your tape on the end, you go your spacing, your center spacing, 5 1/4, 5 1/4, 5 1/4, and then your last one should be 5 1/4 as well if you did your math right. And then you just put your newel, your baluster there at 5 1/4 on the center, nail, 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 do it all along, pick up that basically like you just made a little fence and then slide it into your let-ins and your posts and do that 8 times and you're done.
Much clearer. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I like to spend more time on this and a bigger whiteboard so you guys really get it, but because if you really get it and you have opportunities to do decks that have guardrails, and pretty much all decks have guardrails, you will hit it out of the park. It's such a good way, and it's such a clean way, and it's a good looking way, and it's super crafty. You know, whenever you see let-ins, you just know people have taken time. Like those, some of you weren't with us on Saturday. Looking at that entry at the Fish Enterprise, Old Fish Enterprise, that was pretty cool. Okay, so let's go. Let's get me off pen here. Okay, did somebody else make it? Yeah. Yeah, wait. No, maybe not. Jesus, Alex, keep thinking maybe he'll show up. Connor, Trent, all right. That's
Hey,
it.
Rod. Sorry, I got in late.
Who made it? Connor. Connor made it.
Yeah. Thank you, Rod.
Sure. Okay, glad I checked. Connor Kelly. All right, and a big X there. So chapters 16 through 22, I mean, yeah, chapters 16 and 22, we're going to talk about those. Show baluster spacing with the whiteboard. Did it. Guardrail handout. I'm not doing it. You just remember that baluster spacing. You can remember that formula. Newel to newel plus a baluster, right? And in this case, I'm going to always be talking about 4x4 posts, 2x4 sub top rail, 2x4 bottom rail, 2x6 top rail, and 2x2 balusters. That's what I'm going to be talking about. If you have a question about that. So if you can just remember how that spacing is achieved, add a baluster, divide by 5.5, always divide by 5.5, come up with a number, go to the next up number, divide that into your newel to newel plus a baluster, and then you'll have your spacing, your center to center spacing. And remember, you've always got to burn a half a baluster into that post, unless you do it the way I showed you, which is you do 3/4 let in, so your rails it's already done. You don't have to burn a damn thing. But if you were just butting your rails, right? If you were butting your rails into a post, pin me for a second. If you were just, if you were butting those rails and not letting them in half inch, but if you were butting them, then when you laid out, you'd have to hang 3/4 of an inch over your 2x4 and lay out your first center at 5 1/4, 3/4 in. Otherwise, you would have weird spacing. You wouldn't have proper spacing. You have to burn a half a baluster if you're laying out centers. There's other ways to lay out, but I like laying out center to center. And that's the way to do it and get equal spacing. And I hope I haven't made that too damn confusing. I'm gonna take a break and eat a steak in a little bit. But let's go to closets. I want to tell you a little bit about closets. Then I'm going to start going over stuff. We're going to start going through the weeks and a little bit about the test. We're just going to have a nice, comfortable evening together, and hopefully, you're going to be absorbing tons of information. So I have not talked to you about closets, and I had planned to do a whole thing on closets, but didn't. So I'm going to do a very abbreviated thing on closets. And the first thing I'm going to tell you about is hook strip. Who knows what hook strip is? Let's see. Gallery. Anybody know what hook strip is? Nobody? Okay. Then I'll go back to pinning myself, and I will draw for you on my Lou provided. Actually, Mike Ganella, Environmental Horticulture, provided a whiteboard, which I'm extremely. I didn't have it. I don't know what I'd do. Oh, well, I was going to actually go to school, so I'd have a whiteboard, but I didn't want to do that either. Okay, so Find something to erase that with. Well, 409 ought to do it. Don't you think? I think it will. Yeah, it will.
Rodney,
Yes.
two things before we move on. Pretty simple.
Fire away. What do you got? Ben, you there? Ben? Ben, did I lose you? Your sound's weird.
Can you hear me, Rodney?
I hear you now, Ben.
Number one is there a minimum or maximum distance between nulls by code?
I think there is in this handout, but I'm not gonna go out on a limb. Pretty sure there, well, wait, no, there really isn't. There, I don't think there is. But I got a handout and I'll check it. As a matter of fact, I might even have it on my computer.
Okay, and the other question was, is there a minimum height for the actual baluster?
Absolutely, and not the balusters, the guardrail itself. The top rail has to be 42 inches these days, and on a rake, it has to be between 34 and 38 inches. Wait, between 30 and 34 inches. But again, that's on that handout. I'll get you guys the handout. So yes, absolutely. Guardrails are now 42. They used to be 36, but they're now 42 tall. And then the laws that govern the height of a guardrail on a rake are different. And they're, and by the way, when you measure any railing to get it to code for height on the rake, you know, on an angled rail, on a rail that goes like that, you always measure plumb up from the nose of a tread. Okay?
Okay.
Always you plumb up. So you don't measure anywhere else on the stair, that whole stair, nowhere else, nowhere from the riser. You got to measure all the way out to the end of the tread, plumb up, and then that's where you get your height from. And I have a balustrade at the shop in between the two classrooms that is a really good illustration of this whole thing I've been talking about. So if you guys are ever there again and somebody reminds me, I'll show you how that is. So the handout, I wonder if I have that handout. I'm curious if I do. I think I do. Let's see, what was I going to do? I was going to show you a closet. Well, first of all, hook strip, right? And as soon as that cuckoo goes, we're going to take a 15-minute break. As soon as the cuckoo goes. Did it go yet? I thought.
Yes, it just went.
Did? God, what good is a cuckoo clock when you can't hear the cuckoo? Okay, you guys, it's as you can see, 7, even though it looks like about 1 minute till. It's 7 right up, and we're going to take a 15-minute break. It's going to be our longest break of the evening. It may be our only break, so whatever you got to do it now. And please don't leave. Come back. We've just scratched the surface here. I'm going to show you what a hook strip is, which is you got to know what a hook strip is if you're ever going to do a closet. And we're going to deal with closets a little bit, and then we're going to start going through weeks and get what you can expect from the test. Okay. See you back here at 7:15. I'm going to remove the pin, and someone is please, I'm begging you, is going to remind me to record. All right. Well, that was great. Who knows what I just did? Anybody?
Dinner, steak.
Ate a filet mignon and a small spinach salad with some sauteed mushrooms. Did that make anybody hungry? I
The
would
mushrooms.
have shared it with you. That's the difference between, should I go to the Wake Center and eat an apple, or should I go home? Okay, so we're gonna do, as soon as I get me another toothpick out of my cigar. The light's bad again, huh? Really bad. Yeah, maybe that's better. That's better. Josh is home. Everybody home now?
Yeah.
John, you home?
Yeah.
Good. All right, Daniel's bedroom. There's his dresser. Lou has a nice backyard. Nice backyard, Lou. Okay.
You didn't tell him who cooked you that dinner.
Yeah, my wife cooked me that dinner, but then you all knew that, right? You're sick of me going on and on about my wife, right, guys?
Yes.
Ronnie has a wife.
That's funny.
See, there you go.
Okay, guardrail. Yeah, I might get that. Baluster spacing, closets, 40 and 80 and hook strips. Let's start with hook strip. I'm just going to show you a brief illustration over here. Is this mine? Oh, look at that, a blank whiteboard. Cool. How'd that happen? Okay. No? Yeah, maybe? Pretty good. So anytime you need a molding, is it better to make that molding? You know, to buy the knives or use your saw or a shaper with shaper knives and make that molding? Or is it better to buy the molding?
Buy.
Always,
Depends.
unless you're a custom millwork shop and you have a good selection of knives, you know, and depending upon how many lineal feet you need to make, that's where the you know, the price break is. If you have a lot of lineal feet and you have the material and the tooling to do it, then yeah, you might make it yourself. But generally, you want to look for off-the-shelf moldings that are made by mills, and that's all they do. And you buy it by the lineal foot. You can price it. You can nail down your pricing. You're not trying to figure in what your labor costs are to make this stuff in the shop. So buy the molding, right? So hook strip is a really versatile molding, and it's used for closets. It's called hook strip for a reason. It's shaped like this. It has it's 7/16 to 1/2 inch, depends, thick. Has a square edge, a radius edge, a square edge, a radius edge, which makes it what? What does it make it? It makes it reversible. So you're always going to use the square edge on top. That's where it's for shelf support. Cleated shelf, right? So there's a shelf. The square edge shows square, nice clean butt, and then a radius eased edge down here, right? This is a radius edge, but it's buried by the shelf and the wall, so you never see it. But you wouldn't want to see that radius edge against the wall, period. So you can flip it over. It's 3 1/4 inches. It's a perfect size for receiving a rosette to hold a pole. It holds it down the exact amount it wants to be held down. I think it's 2 1/4, I think, to the pole, and then 1 3/8, and that can't be right. So It's got to be 2, but anyway, I digress. Hook strip is perfect cleat for shelf and pole. And that's what it's used for, shelf and pole. And it's called hook strip because in closets, if we look at the front view of the back wall of a closet, right? You got hook strip going like this, and then you got hook strip returning on both walls. And you got your shelf, your cleated shelf is resting on it. And if you look at this wall, you got your hook strip, right? And it returns, goes all the way. The shelf only comes out that far. Rosette and pole is about there. Your hook strip goes all the way because you can put hooks on it. And you get nailing all the way in your closet. Ergo, hook strip. Both walls. Shelf, cleats, holes on the sides, holes on the back, and then room to fasten hooks. And nailing on your, because you know it's only 2 foot. Closets are only 2 foot deep on the inside. So a couple things to know. Closed closets need to be 24 inches, should be 24 clear. If you frame them 24 clear, where are they going to wind up finish? I mean, if you frame them yet, if they're rough frame 24, where are they going to wind up? They're going to wind up
Minus the drywall.
23.25, right? Yeah. 2 pieces of 5/8 drywall. Everything's 5/8 now. So if you frame it 24, you're going to wind up with a 23 and a 3/4 closet depth, and that'll work. 20 is the minimum depth on closets. Anything less than 20, you're going to be scraping shoulders in the closet, you know, against the wall. Ideally, you want 24 finish, which means 25.25 rough, right? 2 pieces of 5/8 drywall, and you wind up with 24 inches finish. And that's a good closet. There's a lot you can do with that. Closets are art in themselves, and cleating shelves and closets is a good way to go. And then the last thing I'll tell you about closets is that I like double pole. I like double pole a lot. And a double pole cross section, hook strip, shelf, maybe it's edge banded, poles hanging here, right? Hook strips going across all the way with some hooks on it. I like double pole. Single hanging, right? If this side were single hanging, you could hang for dresses and coats and stuff like that. And actually 66. It's 66 to top a cleat, 66 for single hanging. Ideally, you want to do 40 and 80. Here. Get me? Minimum 72, 36. That's minimum. Ideally, 40 and 80 is better. It's better for your clothes, so they're not folding on each other and, you know, laying on the shelf or something like that. And I like double shelf and pole, not just double shelf. I'm sorry, not just double pole, but double shelf. And at 40 and 80, you have some room below hanging things and shirts that aren't too long where you can put stuff like folded clothes, ties, shoes, whatever. 40 and 80, 72, 36 minimum, 66 for single hang. Those are really good numbers. Now, on to meat and potatoes. We always come back to Ben. How's everybody feeling? God, I feel good. It must have been with that steak, man. Trader Joe's center cut filet mignon. You guys ever have it? Nobody here's had that?
No.
Do you guys like, let me see some faces here for God's sake. Do you guys like meat, like beef, filet mignon?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've never
No.
tried from Trader Joe's.
Try it. You'll be strung out, man. Well, maybe you shouldn't, because I hate to see it not be there, but Trader Joe's Center Cut, because they have like 4 different ones, and this one's like $28.99 a pound, but it's so worth it. You know, you only have to eat like less than half a pound. I try to get, you know, less than a pound, so we're eating less than a half a pound. And really, I'm told that 4 ounces is all I need, but check it out, man. It's part of the 5 Fs, right? What are the 5 Fs? That might be on your test, by the way.
Fruit, fresh vegetables, fiber,
Fiber. You just added that.
and then fall. What did you say? Fall. There was a funny word.
Foul like birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Fish, fowl, fresh vegetables, fruit, and filet mignon. And filet mignon only once a week. That's the Mediterranean diet. I think it's coming up on 10 years, I think, since I had that heart attack, man. And I don't think I've ever felt better.
You ever tried the filet mignon from Chaco's down here we're up here in Napomo?
Say it again now, please.
The filet mignon at Chaco's in Napomo?
Yeah. No, I haven't had them, but I've heard about them. I have had the filet mignon at the Far Western, though.
When it was in Guadalupe or where it's at now?
Well, I've had them in Guadalupe and also in Orca, where they are now too. I've been going there for 50 years probably. Going there before they made crack in Guadalupe. It was a long time ago. Now, you know, Guadalupe is the crack capital of the world. At least it was.
I
Strange.
think Santa Maria took that title by far.
Santa Maria is pulled into the lead, right? Ew, it just gives me the creeps even thinking about it. But I digress again. Let's go to the place I really want to go to. So, all right, your test is going to be 50 questions long. It's going to shoot, where's all my stuff? Where's all my notes? Those notes. There's these notes. Okay. It's going to be just 50 questions. I'll give you 3 bonus questions. I'm not going to try to trick you if I can possibly help it. Chapters 16 and 22 in the 13th edition there'll be questions from those chapters on the test. And if you have the 12th edition, it's chapters 12 and 21. I'm sorry, chapters 15 and 21. So 13th edition is chapters 16 and 22. The 12th edition is 15 and 21. And let's just take a gander at those just for the hell of it. So this is the 13th. So what did I say? 15? No, 16 and the 13th. So 16 is windows and interior doors. And we've gone through that. I think we've gone through the flashcards and I think we've gone through the vocabulary game, but just read the chapter. And if you haven't read the chapter, then just be prepared to access it to glean the answers, right? So let's select a point value that matches the vocabulary, Jane. Select a point value. Choose the term that matches the definition. What does that mean? Do you guys know what that means? Choose the term. Oh, okay. So a point value. Let's go for 400. Definition: a type of skylight, typically about 12 inches in diameter, that consists of a clear dome and a tube with reflective lining. What is that?
Not worth 400.
Oh, it's worth 400. We just said it was.
Light tube.
Exactly. You're right. It's a pretty easy question. Check the answer. Yes! You got 400, man. Let's go for 300. The top or side of a door or window frame that's firmly secured to the wall frame. What would that be?
Jam.
Very good. Sounded like a guess, but it's right. And for 200 points, a sash unit attached to the outside of the window frame used to increase the U factor of the window unit. Some of you must have read this. Is what? What is it?
Storm sash.
It's got to be right. And it is right again. And for 100 measly points, the rate at which a material conducts heat energy is what?
U factor.
Yeah, I mean, it sure as hell isn't a panel door. That's a stupid answer. We got them all right. Okay, bam, we're for another 400. A style of door that has a frame with separate panels of plywood, hardwood, hardboard, or steel set into the frame is also known as a style and rail door. Also known as a style and rail door. A style of door. Okay, so what kind of door is that? Duh.
Panel.
Exactly. Through the small hole, rotate. Jealousy. This isn't even okay. So that's the glass windows, right? With the multiple pieces of 4-inch glass that collapse on each other, right? And open up. It's called a jealousy window. And of course, it's right. A window that consists of 2 sashes that slide up and down past each other. What's that?
Double hung.
You didn't get that from my arrow, did you? Okay, a window with the type of sash that's hinged at the top, allowing the bottom to swing outward. Well, it's either going to be an awning window,
Awning window.
opera window, and I'm going for awning, and it's right. A molding that directs water away from a structure to prevent seepage under the exterior facing materials, mainly applied over window and exterior drawer frames. I mean, come on. It's U factor. Everybody knows that. Another right one. A window with 2 or more sashes, at least one in which moves horizontally within the frame. Horizontal sliding glass window. Yes. Wait. Check answer. A door that fits into the opening and does not project outward beyond the frame. What would that be? Who's Patrick Reed? Hang on for me 1 second. This is reading my bill. Hey, Patrick, I'm in class. I got to call you back. But who is this? Why do I know Patrick Reed? Oh, that's that salesman. Jeez. Looks like he says I'm going to get my Volkswagen in a month. Do you believe him? I want to believe him.
I believe it.
What's the answer to this one?
I'll say flush door, but I'm not sure about
It
it.
is. It's flush door. Guaranteed. A list of the doors and windows for the structure. Okay, it's a door and window schedule. So these are ridiculously easy. Okay, well, this might be fun. Types of doors.
Wood doors are very attractive, but do not provide the energy efficiency of metal, vinyl, or fiberglass doors. Steel doors combine durability and heavy-duty insulation with innovative design. Steel door panels are usually galvanized steel, primed and ready for painting. Fiberglass or vinyl entry doors give you the best of both worlds, beauty and durability. Plastic doors also provide several times the energy efficiency of a conventional wood door. A hinged patio door has 1 or more panels made primarily of glass, with at least one of the panels capable of swinging in or out.
This is stupid. Okay, so that's, excuse me, that's some stuff on 16. I'm gonna go back. Let's go back. Ooh, check rails, yeah. But you guys just know that there will be questions on the test that will be directly from chapters 16 and 22 in the 13th edition, and the same exact named chapters in the 12th. There'll be 15 and 21. I'll let you know that on the test too, where to find this stuff. And then if you don't know it already, if you haven't studied those 2 chapters, then you'll have a book, hopefully, to go and find the answers, right? Everybody? Yes, good. Okay. So let's go to back to mods. All right. that week one, I probably won't do any safety meeting questions with you until week 8 because I've done these on the midterm. You might, if you want to do a review yourself, I did a lot of this today.
Oh, God.
Remember that, you guys? That was me showing you the video, cutting the hot dog on the saw stop, and then the guy's finger.
Show them the inside of the hot dog. Look. Yeah, exactly. So you just blew off both the
And then
midterm and the final.
we talked about the syllabus that first night. And we talked about carpentry tools. What carpentry tools are. I don't know if I'll be able to dig a question out of this, probably not, but you never can tell. But you have access to this stuff, right? So just know that if you get a question, go to your canvas and look at your canvas and look, see if you can find some hints about where this stuff is. I may give you hints the weeks it was in. I may still visit you with a question about the field trip, about which I didn't film, which sucks. About Victor. Remember Victor building us a cabinet? I thought that was a pretty fun trip myself. We reviewed the field trip in week 3. Remember when we cut out the rafter bird's mouse? Or did you do that? You did that with Pat, remember?
Yeah, we did that with Pat.
But laid out, I had done all the work on it, and then you guys cut out the rafter bird's mouth, and Daniel's was the best, right, Dan?
Oh yeah.
But you see what I mean, though? Could you tell that it was even up there? No, you
No.
can't. I mean, if you look long and hard, you can find your rafter.
Yeah.
You got to look for it. Knew it, but
Came out okay.
yeah, I think it did too. So you can always see this meeting, week 5. Again, I won't be visiting this because we had it in the hand safety thing. Any questions because we had it in the midterm. Chapter 22, we did a PowerPoint presentation on chapter 22 on interior doors and trim. Yes, we did. We went over some of that. Door and window casings and treatment. I think I talked about that on the board. What are the 2 basic ways to trim out a door? 3. What are the 3 basic ways to trim out a door? Anybody? Well, mitering is one, right? Mitered casings. And then
Craftsman style.
Pardon me? Craftsman style, like we did last week, right?
The plinth or
at Wake. We did that at Wake last week. We did craftsman style trim on that door. We hung the door, sawzalled out the old jamming door, hung that door, and then we trimmed it out with a wider head, 5.5 inch head, 4.5 inch legs by 1/2 inch with a 3/4 head. It really looks good. I was over there today. I just love it. I'm sorry that we're not there boring and installing that latch. Hopefully you guys will be there for a class that we do that in. Maybe 115, or probably won't get to it till next August. But there's a Zoom recording of this class right here that you can look at. And then we go into week 6. Oh, look at that day, man. What day? What's the significance of that day? Nobody?
significance? It's just the number 2s, right? Or
Well, it's my daughter's birthday.
oh, that's right. Yes.
Also my address, 222. And it just a bunch of 2s, and I always think of it because, and it's the day I had a heart attack and almost died, or should have died. Basically did die, and now I'm back to life to make it hell on earth for every student who comes into my class. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, so do you guys remember how to cut down a door for carpet and making the cutting guide? Do you remember all that? Let me just refresh your memory, your memory.
we have these people over, come on up for a minute or two. And so that is a cool.
So you remember we made that guide?
Yeah.
And then I showed you about the door and about using the framing square to approximate, approximate what the door does, and then get a dimension on the tongue from the bottom of the hinge. On the tongue of the framing square, you get a number to the bottom of the hinge to where you'd want the door to be, so it looked like it'll be just the right clearance for you, right? Remember we put a block there? That's what we wanted for clearance.
So I'm reading. I'm using this. I can continue that. It's just like a flat scripture. But I get a sense of what it's doing, what the floor is doing, what the carpet's doing. So I can kind of add, subtract. It's not going to be square the bottom edge of the door. At this point, I'm going to make a square the bottom edge of the door. And I've read. What did I say? 10.5.
Then I lay that out there, right? That same to the bottom of the hinge. And then I'm taking that cutting guide we made. Remember the first thing we did was we made it long, and then we cut it off. And when cutting it off, so now I'm going to cut it. Come on, cut it. Stop talking. Just cut it. Had it with you.
Okay, so.
Anyway, then we cut the door. We cut the door off. Finally, cut the door off.
And you can see, I'm right-handed, so basically.
And voila, clean door. And remember making that guide, and that guide is to that skill saw on that blade, and it will cut right on that plywood edge. You lay it on that edge, that's where it'll cut.
Good, you guys. That I am my cousin, right? So at one point I said,
Okay. Yeah, you can, just skip along with the Zoom recordings and kind of refresh your memories if you want to study for the test. Who knows? Who knows what you'll do? The next week, the safety meeting was about alcohol use and, okay, wait, we did that. That's the one I just did. The next week was about ladder safety. And remember, we talked about edge routing. I think I showed a video on edge routing. Not a video per se. Actually, there was a video, but how to, route the side. Don't route the sides before the ends. Route the ends first. Well, you'll get blowout, then you can clean it up. We did some routing too, didn't we? Yes, we did. Common cold, that can go away. Router guide, okay. And back to mods. Edge routing, and then we laid out the chamfers and stuff. We did some routing on the chamfers. That's enough buffering. Come on. Being buffered to death.
okay, but we're going way further. Up on an 8-foot ladder doing something on my coach not that long ago.
Okay, then we went through the router and I showed you how to, how to take router knives in and out. Remember that?
It's not that big.
With 2 wrenches? What's the bit I got in there? What is that bit called right there that I'm circling with my arrow?
Good squeeze.
What is it?
Feel attention.
What's that bit, guys?
Chamfer.
Chamfer bit. Very good, very good. Did I stop the
So,
share? Oh, I see. I didn't. We went back.
It does grow.
And then we did some routing. I finished the routing with the CT 111, but there was a lot of routing, right, Lou?
Now, this is not.
Oh, by the way, I got a call from Mike today about the shade structure.
Oh yeah, he was telling me Rob called him and said nobody can touch it.
Okay, duh.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, well, tell us every week, Rob, because we're gonna probably forget. Okay, so then week 8, we did a review for the midterm. We went over some sample questions. Safety means about being observant. Now, I think I had it. I think I had that in there, but week 9, there will be a question from this safety meeting, and I'll make sure the question has what week it is and what the topic is, so you guys can go there, click on that, pull it up, and find the answer, right? Right? So if you want to just wing it and you feel really confident she's the answer, I mean, if you really want to wing it, just answer it. That's fine. If you really want to get it right, go to the dang thing and look for the answer, because I might try to trick you on these. In other words, I may very well, and I do all the time, put in answers that could work, that could conceivably be right, but they're not the answer from the question that comes right from this. Follow me? Yeah? Okay, good. So dangers of not being present, how to be present, right? I'll pick something out of that and I'll make a really jazzy question. It'll probably have to do with her. Like, did you notice that her tool belt has 3 rivets right there? Okay, being present. Being present's good. Being present's everything. All right, then we had our midterm exam. We went over our midterm exam the next week. Health being everything, right? That was our safety talk. There'll be a question on that. What's that guy eating? A rice cake? Huh. Or a hamburger. Why do they even have a picture of him? Anyway, health is there's an alarming statistics about health in the US. So there will be a question about that, about health, that safety meeting. And then week 11, we'll get into week 11. And that safety meeting is cost of drugs on the job. I'm sure everybody loves this one. I mean, look at that. It's great. The thermometer in there, it's perfect, right? Why is there a thermometer in there among all those pills? Well, I don't know.
In case you have a cold.
I guess.
Drug use is heating up.
Yeah, drug use is heating up. That's good. That's very good. That's very good. Okay, so health is everything. Now, Jerry DeHogue, huh? How about Jerry? Was Jerry killer? And I think I didn't get him going for the first.
And Zach, would you be my reminder, please?
Yeah, I can.
It's really cool. And it holds the door, which is pretty darn important. Yeah.
So there will probably be a question or two about Jerry and his procedure and all that stuff. And you remember my way, the plumb bob, right? Remember the plumb bob? Everybody remembers the plumb bob, right?
C.
So, when you do the door first, I pretty much only count it up to the deal with the door. And it sets the back set, everything. So
And it's adjustable. These little things there and there that are adjustable to get that thing to flush with the edge of the door so that there's a gain and you don't see the edge of your hinge through the door. So what's he using right there? What's that tool right there?
A chisel, corner chisel.
The spring-loaded corner chisel. And who's that man right there? Daniel Delgado. I'm the only one that got that right. So remember what we did with this door?
What do you mean?
I love seeing that door cased.
And also, double acting, the door set pretty much in the middle up. We had the whole flush to the inside. No kidding, man.
For double acting?
But it's, there's a big cutout on the door. If you look at the door, a big cutout down here where this.
So we-
Contracts out.
Now, where's that door now?
Just to see if the guy was.
That door's in-
Hanging.
Yeah, it's hanging, man, and it's cased out big time. So you may have some questions about Jerry. You may have some questions about what that guy's name is right there. What's that guy's name?
Rocky.
Yes, it is. You good boy. Jerry DeHogue. And then the next week, week 12, now we're well into April. We talked about Jerry a little bit. We had a safety meeting on communication and safety. I remember that one. Do you? Yes, I do. Training is a way to communicate how to do a task. Do you remember? Okay, so we reviewed 16 windows and exterior doors. Oh, do we just do that one? Weird. I don't know why I didn't recognize that. Windows and exterior doors, types of doors, installing windows video. Yeah, so there'll be some questions on 16, that's for sure. And then remember this? Installing a window pre-Tyvek, pre-house wrap. Remember how he did it? With the flex wrap on to make the sill and that piece on the bottom.
You should extend up the jambs at least.
Yeah, and remember the caulking behind the flanges does not go on the bottom, right? So no caulk.
Flashing on both sides of the window using DuPont.
This is a really good window
Next step is
installation
to
method.
install
It's
second
one
course of drain.
that you can
Now we'll roll off.
believe in, especially with
Second
flange
floor.
windows. It's a really good way to go. Now, the really cool thing is, you guys, whether you know it or
Roll
not,
off the first course.
if you got a job and you're getting ready to hang windows, you can call the Tyvek rep. He'll come out. Tyrone will come out, or wait, Tyrone's with Simpson, right? Wasn't he? Or was Tyrone with Tyvek?
Yeah.
He was. The Tyvek guy will come out to your job. He's come out to, I've had a Tyvek guy out to my job like dozens of times and do a little seminar with your guys and do a window and show them best practices in installing and weatherproofing that window. It's really cool. And then you've all got a template to work from, and that's how you do your windows on that job, and that's how you do them on the next job. If And if you have an oddball condition, like a block frame, or you have to make bucks because you have a big bull nose and your window steps in, then you get the Tyvek guy there, he helps brainstorm those different conditions and come up with the best practice to install those windows. It's a really good resource to have, because there's a lot of ways to do everything in construction. There's virtually more than one way to do anything. And I want to do it the best way, and that's relative. Best way can mean a lot of things, but I want to do it in the most efficient way, and the way that makes it come out the best. And as far as a window installation is concerned, I want to do it in a way that it never, ever, 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 ever does what?
Leaks or accumulates humidity.
Exactly, leaks. The one thing you don't want a window to do is leak. It can do all kinds of things. It can open and close and let light in and keep bugs out and do all the great things that it does, but you do not ever want to. So week 13, which was not that long ago, Mr. Cunningham was your guest lecturer. And if I remember correctly, Mr. Cunningham told me that he pretty much gave you guys his bio. Talked about how he started out and finished and became a contractor, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't record it. I doubt I'll pull any questions from there. Actually, most people were there though. On 419, very few people were not there. Let's see. Jesus Barreto was not there. And everybody else was there. So if Jim gives me something specific, I might have a question there. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to trip you guys up. And if you don't have the question in your head, I want you to be able to find the answer. I mean, if you don't have the answer in your head, I'd like you to be able to find it, because in my world, I learn pretty well that way. When I have to find the answer to things, I usually hang on to the answer. Last week was the 26th. I'm sorry, I'm eating. Horrible taste on that. Okay, so the safety meeting was 5 reasons to work safe today. Health, providing, reputation, blah, blah, blah. Guaranteed there'll be a question. And then RDU went to work, and you guys all helped, and you all observed. When I say all, I mean everybody but Trent. Trent missed. Wait, I thought I saw Trent. Did Trent come in late last week? I thought I was giving Trent a hard time about stuff. Is Trent in 111, you guys?
No, I don't think he is.
I don't think he is. So, does anybody remember Trent being there last week?
Wait, is Trent the one with the really cool bike?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, he was there.
He was, wasn't he?
Yeah, he came late,
I don't know why. I didn't get him.
late and possibly high.
Oh, late and very high. I'm gonna put an H for high.
With wearing those glasses inside.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. How could I miss that? Alex Dominguez, did he make it?
No, I don't think so.
Wait, that's today. I just gave Trent here for today, but he ain't here today. And neither is Alex Dominguez, which is unfortunate, but true. Okay. So Trent was absent today, absent without leave. What's the initials for that? Yeah, he was AWOL. He was 100% absent without leave. So I loved that door. I'm telling you. There are, you know, and I think it's because I looked at that opening untrimmed out for so long, and it's so ugly. Thought about it, I wanted a good representation of a craftsman style trim, and we finally got it. Oh, great. I just uploaded this today, so apparently it's still uploading. That doesn't seem right. We've had plenty of time to upload that damn thing. But anyway, that'll be uploaded, I'm sure, by the time you have your final. And the final, I'll probably do exactly what I said I was going to do. I'm playing golf that day. Where? Playing golf, Oxnard, but I'll be back. I'll be there. I'll be there and I'll set up Zoom. It'll be all, the test will be done. It'll be up and you guys will be able to take it between, I'll probably open it from 6 to midnight. Is that fair enough for you guys to have that, just to have it during class time? I know Jim does this thing where he opens it for days. I don't know. I'm not there yet. So the test will be open from 6 till closing time, and I will I'll do a Zoom meeting from the wake. So if any of you guys wanted to come, like I said before, and bounced up off me or whatever, then you're welcome to, or you can take it from home. As long as you take it. If you take the test, you will get marked here. If you don't take the test, you will not only get not marked here, but you'll get 0.
So Rodney, just to clarify, you're going to be at Wake and we can take the test from Wake if we want to?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And when I say take it from Wake, you'll still be taking it on campus, so you'll need to bring a laptop or a phone or something to take it with.
Right.
Media paper test, it'll be online, but I will be there to answer questions on Zoom, answer questions for people or anybody's there in person. Unless I get sick again, which knock on wood, ain't gonna happen. So yeah, next week I'll be there. I'll fire up on Zoom. All we'll do is the test. I probably won't have a safety meeting or anything like that. So did we do yeah, we did the common cold. And then we reviewed baluster spacing. What do you got to remember about baluster spacing? What's the thing? Well, let me
Null to null space plus 1.5 divided by 5.5.
Yeah, good. Newel to newel dimension, add a baluster 1.5 inches, divide by 5.5. Get that number, round it up, always up. That gives you the number of centers, which is when the balusters would be 1 less than that. And those centers you divide. So let's say in our case, it was 72 between the newel posts. We added a baluster, made it 73.5. We divided by 5.5, always 5.5, because with 1.5 balusters, that would leave you a 4-inch exact spacing, and that's the spacing you're trying to achieve, nothing more. So we get 13.36. We round that to 14. So now we know we have 14 spaces. We divided 14 into 73.5, and we got 5.25, and that's our center spacing. So from there, we laid it out, and it all worked out. And in the case of that deck that I laid out on the board for you, we were able to, because we're such incredible planners, and so basically OCD, we were able to make all of those newel spaces, all 10 of them, no, all 8 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, all 8 of them of those balustrade spaces, newel spaces, the same dimension, 72. So we made 8 balustrades exactly the same, and it was so easy and so cool. So that's baluster spacing. I told you about hook strip, right? Told you about a hook strip. Any questions about hook strip or closets so far? I didn't tell you a whole lot about closets, just that hook strips 3.25. It's reversible, so you have a square edge on top, and they have a radius edge that shows in the bottom. It's used to cleat for shelf and pole because it holds a rosette perfectly at the bottom, at the perfect height at the bottom to hold the pole, to give you that space between the bottom of the shelf and the top of the pole to put a hanger on. 24 is probably a good number to remember, is the ideal finish dimension inside a closet. Depth, 24. Not a bad thing to remember. We said, okay, I got some stuff starred here. So coping and sticking, router bit. You know, why did I say something about that? Is it router bits, coping and sticking? I did tell you about coping and sticking. Do you guys know what coping and sticking is? Okay. Let's see. You're seeing this, right? You see my Google screen?
Yep.
Okay. So here's Cope and Stick. Oh, there's a website called Cope and Stick. Interesting, huh? That's the one I want. What is Cope and Stick? Well, let's get here's a 3-minute video of, which I may not show you the whole thing, of Cope and Stick.
Check out this verbo.
Look at me.
Oh man. Basic Cope and Stick. Let's let him explain.
Hi, I'm Bill Hill.
Hey,
I
Bill.
want to pass along a really good tip.
Wait, dude.
On ways that
Bill, what happened? If he was a bit skinnier, I'd think meth addict, but he ain't. So
you can produce unblemished Cope and Stick joints for cabinet doors and cabinetry. The halves of the Cope and Stick joint are perfectly matched, one half being the negative of the other. This allows you to bolster a routed edge or end to prevent splintering or chipping when routing the adjacent end or edge. As minor as this damage appears to be, bear in mind that even the cheapest factory-made door won't have it. I don't want it in my cabinet doors. Surely you don't want it in yours.
no, I don't.
I'm going to show you how it happens and a way to prevent it.
Yeah.
The edge of this rail has
Backup
been
block.
sticked, but the ends aren't coped.
No.
I can cope one end with the pusher square against the unsticked edge. No problem. The pusher backs up the rail so the bit doesn't emerge from the end of the rail and blow out splinters.
Yep.
But turn the rail around to
Yep.
cope the second end. Well, you can see the problem.
Yep.
The square-edged pusher doesn't completely back up the profile, so when I feed the rail
Profile
through the
edge.
cut, I get splinters.
Yeah.
The fix is to route a cope on the edge of a scrap and tuck it into the sticked edge.
Yep.
The cope shape seats tight against the stick profile, preventing the bit from emerging and blowing out splinters.
Such a good way to go. So what he's got there is a router table, which is basically a mini shaper. We have a shaper. I don't even think we have a router table in there, but he's got a nice stationary router table with basically a small shaper, easier to change knives. Router knives are a lot cheaper, but as you can see, you can make a Cope and Stick joint. You can make all your own cabinet doors, and panel doors are generally anything with the inside edge details done.
True, it's somewhat
Cope and
minor,
Stick.
but even a minor chip
Nice,
like this
nice.
is unacceptable to me,
Totally
and I
unacceptable.
hope to you.
Totally unacceptable.
You confront a similar situation when sticking a curved rail.
Yep.
There's a chance you'll round off the tip of the sticking as the rail moves off the bit's pilot bearing. So you get this. Supporting the copes throughout the shaping and sticking process is the best way to prevent both of these goofs. After you've cut the copes, but before you shape the rails, what you do is cut the sticking profile on scraps. Tuck one into each cope. As you shape the rail, trim these scraps so they blend into the curve. Thus, when you cut the sticking, you've got solid material backing up the wood at the fragile end of the cut, as well as stock to
Nice.
maintain contact with the pilot bearing and carry
Such
the
a good
work
idea.
piece safely past the cutter.
Such a
Once
good
again,
idea.
it's easy if you know how.
This guy's good, man. Bill Hoyton, I like him. Very nice. Okay, all right. Review the entire semester and prep for exam. Okay. What's up, Rob? Oh, Rocky. Rocky. No. What's got him riled up? Okay, so on your exam, let's see what else I had. Coping and sticking, router bit shanks. Remember, router bit shanks are quarter and half. We did that chamfer routing. Being observant, okay. Integral kicks. Remember, I talked about that. I like integral kicks versus I like loose kicks versus integral kicks. Remember that? Everybody understand what I mean when I say that? Loose toe kicks versus integral toe kicks. Yes? Guys remember that? Yeah. Everybody's shaking their head. Okay. But if you need it qualified, I'm hoping that all of these images here that just have names are actually people. I know I got Daniel, Benjamin, Lou, and Josh because I can see them. And Zach, I can see Jack screaming as he climbs up that rock. So there's D'Angelo. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so Jim's talk, 5 reasons to work. Okay, so here's some of the things, some of the questions you might have on this test. You might have questions about using a double hanging closet pole on a 96-inch ceiling. The question might have answers like, might have answers like 84 and 42, 72 and 36, 80 and 40, none of the above. You could possibly have a question that says door casings are usually, the 4 answers would be splined, built up with multiple moldings, mitered or butted, bull-nosed. And you'll have to choose one of those. A 3670 door is 36 by 70 inches, 42 by 84 inches, not a valid call out, 37 by 60 inches. That's a sample question that you very well might have. Okay, what else might you have?
Rodney,
Yes, Ben.
did you mention at some point what would be the average height for a single pole hanging? Or the pole, if you get a single pole?
66 inches.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of numbers about closets, but if you can remember or write down those two, that for a double pole, 80 and 40 is ideal. 3672 is about as low as you can go. 8442 is good too, but 80 and 40 works fine. 80 and 40 would be ideal, and then 66 for single hanging for tall stuff. And I have a whole lecture and talk about laying out an 8-foot closet that I really like, a really good layout for an 8-foot closet that's relatively easy and economical to do. When installing mitered casing, Mr. Utt always glues his miters. Is that true or false? That might be one of the questions. What do you think? Is it true or false?
Who were you asking? Well, I understood the question, but who?
I'm asking the class. Is it somebody just chime in? When installing mitered casings, Mr. Utt always glues his miters. True or false?
Oh, false.
Super true.
True, man. I always glue my miters.
Yeah.
I don't glue my butt joints, but I always glue my miters. It helps keep them together. It's hard enough to keep them together without glues, but I always glue my miters. I can't give you any of these questions about drawing a scale because we never did get to drawing a scale, but Jerry DeHogue uses what tool to square up rounded hinge mortise corners? A spring-loaded corner chisel, a regular chisel, or a utility knife?
Spring loaded.
Yeah. And then I'm going to give you 5/8 plus a quarter plus 7/16 minus 7/8 plus 13/32 minus a half plus 7/32. I'm going to give you that. I'm going to probably give you 6.5 plus 3/8 plus 54 plus 3/4 minus a quarter minus 7/8. Probably going to give you that. I might change it too, but it'll be something like that. I'm also going to give you the sum of 7/16 plus 5/16 plus 3/4 plus 3/8 plus 7/8 represented as a decimal is. You might very well get that, but I might change up the numbers. So you get a couple of math questions for sure to keep you on your math toes. Carpentryism, a lot about math, a whole lot about math. I'm going to give you at least one board foot question. This particular question is how many board feet are there in 20 2x10s by 16 foot long? Do you remember the board foot formula? Can somebody just chime in and recite it? How to figure board feet? Anybody?
It's the dimensions of the actual board. So for instance, it's a 2x4 by the length, and the length should be, the first two dimensions should be in inches, the third dimension should be in feet. And then you multiply that by, or either divide it or multiply it, but you can multiply it by the number of boards, and then you divide it by 12.
Yes, yes. So you can do those in various ways. So you can do thickness times the width times the length in feet, thickness in inches times width in inches times length of feet over 12. That'll give you the board feet in one board, and then times the number of pieces. Or you can do times the number of pieces and the whole thing under 12. It all works. Just like you said, it works just fine. Or you can do it like I do in my head, where I know that 2x4 is 2 times 4 over 12 is 8 over 12. Yeah, it's 2/3. So I know that every lineal foot of a 2x4 is 2/3 of a board foot. So an 8-foot 2x4 is 16 1/3 or 5 1/3 board feet. That's how my head does it. Remember, you're going to get a question, at least one question per safety meeting. So I think there'll probably be 7 or 8 of those, at least 6. I might go back, but if I do, I'll tell you where I went, and so you guys can go and pull them up. They'll be there. You'll be able to pull them up. When trimming out a door with mitered style casing, the following is true. The leg trim butts to the head trim. B, the head and the leg trim are all the same thickness and width. C, the leg trim is thicker than the head trim. And D, the head trim is a plinth block. What's the answer?
The second one?
Yes, exactly, Ben. So you don't miter anything that isn't the same width and the same thickness. And typical mitered casings, even this casing right here behind me, right? This casing in my house, it's the same width. The leg, head, and the other leg, which you can't see, is the same width and the same thickness. Otherwise, it does not work. And most casings, definitely most casings have profiles, so they have to be the same to be able to miter. And that's the only way you can really run them. So unless you put a rosette at the corner or a plinth at the bottom. So a rosette, right? That block in the corner that the casing butts to and the casing butts to. That's a way to get away with profile casings, have profile casings, but not miter them. A rosette, a plinth block. I'll ask you a couple of questions about Jerry DeHoe, master finish carpenter, job hang stores. Do you guys want to take a break and come back, or do you want to plow through it for 10 or 15 more minutes and go home? What do you say?
They just keep going.
Okay. I'll do that. I'll do that, and then we'll call it, and everybody will study all week, and then you'll all nail the test, right? I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to see you guys tonight. I was hoping to do something special, but and I hope I will see you all again. So don't be strangers. Stay in touch with me. Continue to take classes, or at least stay in touch. Period. And that thing I mentioned to you, I have a lot of friends in the trades, and they're pretty much all looking for workers. So if you're interested, you should talk to me and see if I where I can send you. You know what I mean? Where I think you're capable of, where might be a good fit. If you're interested. Do you take off? In general, the 3 basic types of windows. So there's going to be some book questions. That's from chapter 15 on the 12th, which is 16 in the 13th edition, about 3 basic types of windows. And when doing a takeoff for how many pieces of sheet goods to cover walls and or ceilings, it's best to figure where each sheet will go and count them, figure total square feet and convert it to square yards, tell your lumber store salesman what the room size is and let him or her figure it out, or figure the total square feet and divide by the square feet in one sheet. What do you think? The last one sounds good to me. Sounds really good. The best and most versatile tool to use in cutting trim, base, crown, and casing is a chop saw, B, compound miter saw, C, bandsaw, D, table saw.
Compound?
Yes. 3 types of fixed shelving. Oh, I didn't tell you about that, did I? I probably won't ask you that question. I don't really feel like going over it right now. I'm not going to. So double and triple glazing, that's a window question from the book. I didn't show you the 30-degree shoulder miter, damn it. So I can't ask you any questions about that. I didn't show you how to spin out radiuses, so I can't ask any questions about that. I can ask you about standard window units can be adjusted to walls of various thicknesses with blah, blah, blah. Piece is called a, that's from chapter 15 or 16. Can't ask you about that because I didn't teach you about it. But I can't ask you about the standard height of windows measured from the bottom side. That's in the book. How about this one? The maximum spacing allowable for balusters in a guard railing is 5.5. True or false?
False.
Yeah. That's exactly right. That's an exactly right answer. It's wrong. And then this one, I might ask you this one because we talked about it. Guardrails must be not less than blank in height per code. See the deck and railing we laid out on the board in our 11, 12. Oh, there we go. Anyway, 38 inches, 38 inches, 36 inches, 40 inches, or 42 inches.
42.
Must not be less in height, unless they're on the rake, and that's a difference. Jerry DeHogue used what to put a bevel on each side of the door? A spiral cutter door plane, a straight cutter door plane, a router with a straight bit and a guide, or a cordless track saw?
Track saw.
What a cool way to go, man. I mean, that's a game changer if you ask me. And those things we kept that he cut off, those tailings, man, that thing cuts like, I can't believe it. It's like a hot knife through butter. Cleated shelving for storage closets is usually, I'm not going to ask you that. We didn't go over closets enough. I meant to go over more. All right, laying out a balustrade for equal spacing of balusters, it is important to burn half of an imaginary baluster into the newel at either end of the newel to newel space. Take the newel to newel space and divide the balusters equally into it. Remember to put a baluster right up against the newel at either end, or cut your balusters slightly oversized.
Option A.
Yeah, option A. In laying out the deck guardrail, we created a total of only 2 different balustrade lengths and 10 new. So I did a layout for whatever I did this class with. And I might reword this question for you guys, because I stress that a lot about making doing a layout where the newel to newel openings were as many of the same as possible. And this was done, and here's the 4 answers. Because it just worked out that way, it was random. B, to avoid having to use a calculator. C, to simplify the layout and minimize different length cuts. And D, to get our baluster spacing just right. What is it?
Letter C.
Exactly. You guys should just follow Ben on this, right? Everybody writing down what Ben is answering. 48, because I haven't heard an answer from one other person yet. Has anybody else answered? Come on, you guys. Did you all just give your answers to Ben? Mr. Ut, like hook strip for closet, shelf and pole, because A, he's hooked on it. Oh. B, it's the cheapest. C, it's the biggest. Or D, it's sized right to receive a pole rosette and give enough clearance for hangers.
Last one.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And that, my friends, is that. Also, I got to dream up some decent bonus questions. Ones that won't be hard. They'll be kind of gifts, but you'll still have to pay attention enough. You'll still have to have been there to get them. Does anybody have any questions for me? Well, you got me. Well, you got me. I think I've kind of burned the candle at both ends today. I'm feeling kind of sick again, but hopefully I'll be fine. I won't. This will be done for me. I'm pretty sure it'll be done. I know Miguel works in the trades. He's working actively in the trades now. Daniel, you too? You and Josh?
Not yet.
No, not yet. Josh works in the trades, right?
I do it as a hobby, but I do apartment maintenance right now.
Okay. Hey, well, that's in the trades, baby. Definitely. Who else works in the trades? I know.
I do.
Who does?
Arn.
Arn does. Yes, of course he does. Arn's our goat pen builder, right?
No, I'm working for a contractor now.
Oh, good. And what are you doing?
We just poured foundations for a yurt, and then we put up a yurt and then made a whole deck around it. It was a 30-foot yurt.
Wow.
And then we put windows in, and we're flagstoning around the decks too, and then we're making a kitchen with it too.
What a gas, man.
Yeah, it's super sweet, but it's so expensive because they keep on changing everything like every week. They're like, oh, we want this, we want that, and then it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, welcome to construction.
Yeah.
It can be good or bad. It can be good when the people understand that they have to pay to make the changes.
Oh yeah, they understand they have to pay.
And you have people that want to make changes but don't want to pay. Seriously, there are people, and I've worked for plenty of people that wanted to make a change that was obviously cost more than the original, but wondered why they had to pay more. Okay. You can't be too clear. You know what I mean? You just can't be too clear with people about costs. Never be afraid to talk costs to people, because you're working for money. That's why you're working. Although, word to the wise, when it's not about the money, when it's about getting the job done and getting the job done right and on time, you'll make money. And your attitude will be one that will endear you to the people that you work for, whether you're working for a contractor or whether you're working for the owners. That attitude of the job is why you're there. You're not there for the money, right? I mean, we can't discount the money. And yes, we are there for the money. And yes, we deserve to get the money when we do the job, right? We're working for money. We're working by the hour. We're working for a fixed price if we're contractors. But it's never the money. It can't be. Because if it is, it ruins the whole thing. It becomes something else. Seriously. And this is a really kind of, I know maybe some of you find this to be a weird concept, but it makes perfect sense to me that what I'm looking for in employees and what I want to put forth myself to owners and to people that that are looking to work for is that I'm dedicated to their job. And getting the job done is first priority, not making the money. You know, the difference is like, well, no, I need to get paid, man. Well, I want to say, well, no, you need to get the job done. Then you can get paid. But you need to get the job done just like you said you'd do the job, right? That's all anybody wants. They just want you to do what you said you're going to do. How hard is that? It's called being impeccable with your word. So you're not going to get off all that easy. I can't let you go without. Without reading, and I see D'Angelo has got it in his backpack. I rifled your backpack, D'Angelo. Yeah, I did. I see you got this book, which gave you extra credit in my mind. So being impeccable with your word is not using the word against yourself. I see you in the street and I call you stupid. It appears that I'm using the word against you, but really I'm using my word against myself because you're going to hate me for this, and your hating me is not good for me. Therefore, if I get angry and with my words send all that emotional poison to you, I'm using the word against myself. If I love myself, I will express that love in my interactions with you. And then I am being impeccable with the word, because that action will produce a like reaction. If I love you, then you will love me. If I insult you, you will insult me. If I have gratitude for you, you will have gratitude for me. If I'm selfish with you, you'll be selfish with me. If I use the word to put a spell on you, you're going to put a spell on me. Being impeccable with your word is the correct use of your energy. It means to use your energy in the direction of truth and love for yourself. If you make an agreement with yourself to be impeccable with your word, just with that intention, the truth will manifest through you and clean all the emotional poison that exists within you. Oh my God. I'm going to finish this paragraph then. I got to tell you the Ratinator story. But making this agreement is difficult because we have learned to do precisely the opposite. We have learned to lie as a habit of our communication with others, and more importantly, with ourselves. We are not impeccable with the word. The power of the word is completely misused in hell. We use the word to curse, to blame, to find guilt, to destroy. Of course, we use also it in the right way, but not too often. Mostly we use the word to spread our personal poison, to express anger, jealousy, envy, hate. The word is pure magic, the most powerful gift we have as humans, and we use it against ourselves. We plan revenge. We create chaos with the word. We use the word to create hate between different races, between different peoples, between different families, between nations. We misuse the word so often, and this misuse is how we create and perpetuate the dream of hell. Misuse of the word is how we pull each other down and keep each other in a state of fear and doubt, because the word is the magic that humans possess, and misuse of the word is black magic. We are using black magic all the time without knowing that a word is magic at all. I love this book, every part of it. So I have rats, right? I have rats. Yeah, I have rats. I have rats, and what I have is I have like 400 feet, I have 400 feet of hedges, 90-year-old hedges. And in the back, my hedges are fig vines on 4 foot of block wall and 3 foot of chain link. And they've completely obscured the walls, although now they're not. We cut them way back, way back to this hobbit forest growth. Anyway, there's a bunch of rats living there. It's a perfect place for rats to live. The rats love it back there. it's like a rat metropolis. I've killed them individually with traps. And then I mentioned it to Lewis, and Lewis said, well, the Ratinator is what they use over at Environmental Horticulture. And so based on Lewis's recommendation, I bought the Ratinator. And it's a trap. It's about this big, not that tall, but that deep. It's handles, 2 handles, has a spring-loaded top for a bait box. It's mesh, right? It's like a maybe a 1/2 inch decent steel mesh, painted black, powder coated black. It has a spring lock door that you can let the critters out with, or get the dead critters out with. It has a door to access the bait box, which cannot be accessed from the inside. And I think it has one other door, but it has a door that allows rats to get in to try to get to the bait box. You salt it with all kinds of, bait, bird seed, dog food, whatever, but it doesn't let them get out. And so, and then I use the technique that they recommended, that the Ratinator recommended. That is, put it out, bait it for 2 nights, but peg the trap door open. Peg the door open. So the rats can come and go and just eat bait for a couple of nights. And then you unpeg the trap door so that now that when they go in, they can't get out. Right? Everybody with me so far? The Ratinator, Lou swears by it, says they've caught tons and tons of rat in environmental horticulture. And went over how he did. He basically just baits it and goes and he gets rats. And he's got
My record's 10 in the same trap.
10 in the same trap. Now the Ratinator's record is 21. They've gotten as many as 21 rats. Matter of fact, right there, 21. 21 rats in one trap. So I know I got a lot of rats back there. So I'm going, man, when I peg that trap door, when it's starting to work, I'm going to wake up in the morning and have 50 million rats. So that first night, right? Baited it, woke up in the morning. How many rats did I have? Yeah, none. Not one rat. Imagine my chagrin and disappointment. I was very chagrined and very disappointed. So, we cleaned up around the patio and I swept over the dog food and birdseed or whatever the hell it was, and kind of just forgot about the trap for a while. And then maybe within a week, my wife, Cindy, said, well, hey, can I put it someplace else? Because it was on a part of our patio. It's kind of behind this living room couch that we have out there, some furniture we have out there, outdoor furniture. And she wanted to move it over to the eastern or northeastern corner of the property, behind a guava tree that we have in a bed, in a barked planter bed, dirt and bark. And what used to be ivy, but thanks to Tony, it's not ivy now. So I said, yeah, sure, go do that. And so she did. She put it over there, and she didn't salt it. She didn't do anything. I mean, she didn't put seed around it, but she left in that little laundry cup of dog food that I had put in the bait box, which, by the way, those poor suckers can't even get to the bait box. So, they don't even get to eat unless you put stuff around it. And then the whole idea is you catch the rats, right? And then you got to kill them. And they give you a tray to drown them in. So you fill up the tray, you drop the whole thing in it, and supposedly it takes them a couple minutes to drown. And I was thinking of, I think I told you guys about this, about making a mini gallows or mini guillotine, or maybe a little mini firing squad, or how about a mini lethal injection? I don't know. Lots of ways to kill them. Just kidding about that.
Sounds like you haven't given it thought.
Yeah, but here's the cool thing. Sunday morning, we go out there, or my wife, I'm having a tough day. I stayed in bed all day Saturday. I was not feeling well. And then Sunday I had gotten up, and she said, oh my God, there's a baby possum in the trap. There's a baby possum. There's a baby possum. Oh no. What am I going to do? Oh God, help me. So I go over there, right? The light's not all that good under the tree. Well, I see in the corner, I see a small possum. Could be a small possum or it could be a baby possum, but there's definitely a possum in there. No doubt about it. Can't stand possums, by the way. But they're really good. They're really pretty good creatures. Marsupials are good, right? So the possum's in there, and then I see a rat. It looks like there's a rat in there too, like the rat, right? Well, here's what I don't see, folks. I don't see the fact that there's 3 dead rats in there. And not only are they 3 dead rats, but there are 3 dead rats that have all had their heads chewed off by the possum. Yeah, their heads are chewed off. There's 3 headless rats. And one of them, the possum was on chewing his head off. That's why I didn't see him. The other 2 were in a pile looking like one because one was on top of the other. The only reason I knew it was 2 rats because there were 2 tails, but both of them were headless. Can you imagine having your head eaten by a possum? That's got to be the worst way to go there ever is. Now, I don't have a lot of empathy for rats. That I wouldn't even wish that on a rat, man. I feel really bad for those poor rats. But then, how can you feel good, man? They're going to get drowned anyway. So, but would you rather be drowned or have your head eaten off? Which?
Sounds like you got a foolproof system there, Rodney.
Drowned for
Yeah,
sure.
Rodney, you must like rats a lot more than I do because my first thought was, keep the possum and let him go on.
Oh yeah, no, I let the.
So is it your head getting eaten completely off, or is it chewed at little pieces?
Gone, like devoured and digested. And
John, is one better than the other?
Shat back into my garden.
That might be the way to go, quicker than getting drowned.
I'm personally going to take drowning. You ever seen the possum when they get that? Oh my God, no, thank you. No. I'm not gonna, just kill me now if anybody's gonna chew my head off, possum or not. So, you guys have any questions about the test or any questions about anything about stuff that we've done or anything? Okay, so if you think of questions for me, text me, call me, email me. I'm very available to you. I'm going to be available on Zoom Tuesday at 6 at the wake. So you're welcome to show up in person unless I tell you otherwise. If I'm sick or if I relapse and if I got any kind of cold symptoms, I won't show up because I don't want to give anybody a cold. But if I'm healthy, I'll let you know. So I'll let you know only if I'm not going to make it. So I'll make it there. I'll help you out if I can. And as I've said before, you guys are an A+ class. I would recommend basically any of you, especially all of you that are here tonight. And if any of you are interested in talking to me further about, the friends I have that are looking for people to work, contact me individually, separately, and we'll have a conversation and see if I think you could fit anywhere. If you're interested, and I mean interested in, because you may all have jobs now. This would be all of the people that have been asking me would be looking to you guys to make a commitment to them. And like this one I mentioned, this project manager, kind of project manager in training could be a really good job if you're the guy for that job. I mean, it could be a really good job. There's a lot of work. This is a very well-respected older company in Santa Barbara doing a lot of work. They're not as big as D.D. Ford, and they're not as young as D.D. Ford. Matter of fact, John's quite a bit older than the young Turks at D.D. Ford. He doesn't have as big a company. He's maybe not as professionally run, but they are run very professionally, and they got a ton of great work and more work coming. And they need people, and you all being people that are intelligent and work hard and understand what it is to work hard and show up and have the right attitude. You're the people I want to recommend. And I stopped recommending people for a while because guys were disappointing me, but now it's like I don't care anymore. It's not, I'll recommend you and tell somebody your strengths, what I consider your strengths and your weaknesses, and then the rest is on between you and them. So I'll leave you all with that. Stay in touch, stay healthy, stay alive. I'll see you all next Tuesday. But if I don't see you, that means you don't feel like showing up on Zoom. You don't need to, you don't need to or want to show up in class, but do take that test. I'll send you an email when the test is done and tell you when it's open. And I may tweak it. And if you need, like Josh, you and I got to talk afterwards, right, about getting that test to you. So
Yeah.
Okay, man. So I won't see some of you. I won't see. So goodbye. I have really enjoyed this class. I mean, I'm not kidding. This group of guys, all of you, really stand out. And you know what makes you stand out is I'm aware that you're interested. You've shown me that you're interested in what I've got to offer. And that's the best an instructor can ask for. You know, we just want your interest and then try to give you, stuff that you can use. And I hope I've given you some stuff that you can use. I know I've given you a ton of information, but and I'm not going away. I'm here for you guys. Okay. I'm gonna miss all of you, so don't be strangers. Stick around. I mean, stay in touch. Take our other classes. Okay.
Thank you so much, Rod.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rodney.
Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you, Rodney.
Yeah, pleasure, all of you. It's a real pleasure. My pleasure is mine with all of you. And I hope I see some of you next Tuesday, or at least you check in on Zoom or something. But either way, have a great summer. We'll be traveling. We're going to leave June 7th for at least a month, maybe 2 months. We're going to be pulling our RV up to Portland, and then Puget Sound, and then probably across the country to Mount Rushmore, South Dakota, then back through Life Elevated, Utah. Nomads, man, we love that lifestyle. It's just unbelievably cool for us. Waking up in someplace like Yellowstone. We woke up in some pretty good places. And we woke up in some pretty shitty parking lots too. You gotta take it all. Okay, gang. See you next Tuesday. It's a pleasure. Like I said, with all of you, a real pleasure. And Josh, what are we gonna do with you, man?
Give me a pass.
Yeah. When do you leave, Josh?
I leave on Friday.
Okay, so you leave this Friday, and you aren't gonna have any internet, right?
No, I don't get internet over there.
All right. So let's do this. What time do you leave on Friday?
At 2 p.m.
Okay. I know you're gonna probably be busy. How are you leaving? Are you driving or flying?
We're flying, but we're going to TJ. We're flying from TJ to Guerrero.
So you're driving to TJ
Yeah.
to fly, and then you're leaving in the morning Friday?
We're leaving at 10 at night.
Oh, on Friday night.
Yes. But
Okay,
we're leaving at 2 from the house, but
Okay.
it's like a 6-hour drive to TJ.
Okay.
and- Yeah.
So at 2 on Friday, you're driving down to Tijuana.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's this coming Friday?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what you need to do, you got my phone number, right?
Yeah.
You need to call me at 8 in the morning, Friday morning,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
Just call me and spend 10 minutes with me, and we'll do a test. Okay.
Okay.
I'll just be ready to answer some questions, and because there's no way I'm going to get you the test, because I more than likely won't have it done. I guess it's humanly possible I will. If I do, you'll be the first to know. But if I don't, then I'll just do some kind of a test with you, just so I can get your a final grade. Okay.
All right.
Okay. We'll make it happen, Josh. So
All
you're
right.
calling me at 8 a.m. Friday morning.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Yep.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Who else has got a problem that I can solve? Nobody? Too bad. Anyway, gang, have a good night. Did I say good weekend? It's only Tuesday. Jeez, I did say have a good weekend, didn't I? Wow. Oh, that's where I'm at. I shouldn't be driving. So, all right, guys. Hey, take good care of yourselves. All right.
Thanks, Rodney.
All right,
Thanks,
Rodney.
Rodney.
Thank you, Rodney.
Yeah.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Thank you all. Hope I see
Bye.
you next week, at least on Zoom, if not in person. All right. We can say goodbye.
All right.
See you 8 o'clock, Josh. Right. Later, Miguel. Later, Daniel, Ben Durian, and
Bye. Thank you.
And hey, Ben, I don't know. What are you doing? What are you doing now for work?
I am working for a construction company. You probably heard of them. They're called Arnold Brothers Construction.
Yeah, I think I've seen that sign. Arnold Brothers. And what are you doing for them?
Well, I started with them with the intention of improving my carpentry skills.
Right.
And so that's what I talked to them about when everything started. At that time, they told me they wouldn't be able, or they were not able to put me together with one of the most experienced carpenters.
Right.
But if I still wanted just to jump in and do random things, that I was welcome. That they needed hand just doing, things either from getting stuff from the store, digging, piling up, cleaning.
Whatever needed to be done.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I started doing for perhaps the first 2 to 3 months, like 7 months ago. And that's when they started just giving me, asking questions. You got this tool? Yes, I do have it. You got this other tool? Yes, I do. Well, we need to cut here. We need to cut there. We need to facilitate this for the electricians. We need to arrange this wall for the plumbers or things like that. And that's how I ended up sort of being in, not managing, but in constant communication with the contractor of whatever was happening in that certain project. So I was stagnant or, stale in one big project, and I was the one, unlocking the doors, locking the doors at the end, and then or communicating any information to the other trades.
Yeah.
Since the contractor needed, they have several projects going on. So you could say I did a little bit of managing, but with not enough knowledge nor experience. So it was like a constant, phone call. Hey, Nathaniel, this is what's going on. This is what they're saying. What do you want me to tell them? Or I'll put you on speaker so that but always trying to buffer everything and just trying to let him do his work at other sites.
Yeah.
So that sort of or style of work finished, I'd say like 3 weeks ago. During these last 3 weeks, I've been doing little things like patching things because the home is finished entirely. So we need to trim this door. We need to adjust windows.
Yeah.
The house was sold and somebody bought it after a week. So it was real fast, everything. So there were many details that we had to deal with during these last 3 weeks. So up until then, I wasn't able, I had not been able to focus on wood or carpentry or anything like that. And it was actually not until this week and the very last days of the previous week that I got moved into another project. And I'm right now interacting with more carpenters and getting to use my tools a little bit more and learning tricks and I guess meeting new people and new personalities. What's that?
You could do project management. You're smart enough to do really anything. And this is the time. There's just so much opportunity out there. I've never seen a time ever in the 50 plus years I've been doing this. It's been like this, where there's these kind of opportunities for people. I mean, everybody needs people, right? And at virtually every level. But a lot of these guys that I know have jobs that they can't staff, and from all the way, but like this one I mentioned to you, this one that Cesar's talking about, you could get in as project manager for, you could probably get 30 plus an hour. And like I said, go nowhere but up from there. So you're going to be one of the guys I recommend. you can do something with it or not. It's up to you, but I've been asked for some recommendations, and you're one of the smartest guys in that class. You're also very dependable. You got the right attitude. You exude humility. You're a keeper, dude. you're.
Thank you.
I would hire you, man. If I was working, I'd try to get you. So don't sell yourself short. You're in a good position. How old are you?
42 just turned.
Yeah, and you're old for a guy in the trades, and you're old for a guy starting out doing carpentry. You could go right into project management. Just keep your eyes open. You'll learn stuff. You know how to learn stuff. You find the guy that knows it and shadow him. Ask him.
Right.
Look at what he's doing, and it's not that hard to pick stuff up. Granted, to really learn something, I think you have to do it to really learn it. But you could write your own ticket. You can go wherever you want it. So I think I'm going to be recommending you to Whole House, and so it'll be up to you, interview with them or not. But I would recommend you do just keep your options open.
Right.
You may love this thing you're with. This may be it for you, and you're going to go with the Arnold brothers and take it all the way. And they've told you that, yeah, you stick with this man, and we'll make you a partner. I don't know. I don't know what goes on with them, but it's lots of opportunities, and just be aware that they're out there. And sometimes you don't see the opportunities because you're too busy just taking care of business. Right? You gotta work every day, and we got to do this, we got to do that, and so you don't get a chance to go, wow, I could have got that job, and I could have grown from that job. Oh my God! But I'm telling you, just the job description that John gave me sounded pretty good to me. Sounded really good. Like, damn, I'd do that if I was working. Sounds ideal, really. He talked about he wanted somebody that could be on the job and have some carpentry skills and have some computer skills and could basically be the right-hand man of the project manager, somebody like John, who really has a lot of knowledge. So you'd pick up a lot there. And then when the job got to the place where they could go off to start, the foundation work for another job, that they could leave you there to interact with the subs and get to finish the job.
Right.
Which going, yeah, I want to do that. Doesn't that sound good? And then I think the specific job he was talking about was that Via Bendita job. That job, that we looked at, the framing slab was done for the house, and the framing for the guest house. Remember the vaulted ceilings?
Right.
Hope Ranch, and I got lost driving around trying to figure out where to go, but I think that's the job that he was talking about. So check it out.
Oh, okay. I was working real close to that property. Well, thank you. I appreciate your feedback and your input and your kind words. Thank you, Mr. Rodney.
My pleasure, Ben. You're an excellent student. I am very happy to have made your acquaintance, and I hope I see you again, and I will see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, next. Well, I'm not on another class with you, but see you next week.
I keep thinking you're in that class, but you're not. So hopefully I'll see you either in person or on Zoom next Tuesday, right?
We will. That's right. Yes, for sure.
Okay, bud. Have a good night, man.
You too. Thank you, Mr. Rodney.
For sure. Take care. God, I should have stopped that damn recording.